as we come on the air on this Tuesday edition of PFTPM, there is yet another news nugget. Andy Dalton, a.k.a. the Red Rifle. Remember the time J.J. Watt butchered his nickname after a Monday night win by the Texans over the Bengals? Anyway, he will now be rifling for, according to Adam Schefter of ESPN, the Chicago Bears. Instant analysis because we didn't know about it 30 seconds ago. Good afternoon, Peter. What do you think of Dalton to the Bears?
Well, Mike, I mean, there's three very quick points. Number one, I guess this means that all those people who thought that Russell Wilson was a lock to go to the Chicago Bears, and they had so many great things to trade, didn't they, Mike? The 20th pick in the draft. I mean, that is so valuable. Isn't that worth a Hall of Fame quarterback, the 20th pick in the draft?
I have a feeling there would have been more added to it. Once they restructured
right, there
Khalil
would have
Mack,
been a little more.
But the Bears went away once they restructured Khalil Mack.
Yeah, right. But anyway, so the first thing is Russell Wilson now. Okay, but the second thing is that, you know, at some point, you've got to stop dreaming about who your quarterback is going to be. Washington stopped dreaming last night about 10 o'clock. And they said, okay, we're going to camp, and our quarterback is most likely going to be Ryan Fitzpatrick or Tyler Heineke, whatever. But so they stopped dreaming last night about what might happen, okay? The Chicago Bears today stopped dreaming and got into reality and said, we better get the best possible guy who we can to quarterback our team this year. So now they go to camp, probably, with Foles and Andy Dalton, may the best man win. And I think the third thing to say is Andy Dalton did a good job with his opportunity in Dallas last year. It didn't show up in the one-loss column, but he played creditably for a team that at the time he went in the lineup was a bad team, and he made it better.
Second-round pick of the Bengals in 2011. This is year number 11 for Andy Dalton. The Bengals cut him loose last season in advance of drafting Joe Burrow first overall, and then he landed with the Dallas Cowboys and did play a decent amount after the Dak Prescott injury. He had some injury issues of his own, Dalton did. He had a COVID-19 stint as well. But $10 million for 1 year, that matches the base value that Washington is giving to Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't think it necessarily takes the Bears out of play at number 20, just like Fitzpatrick doesn't take Washington out of play at number 19. But what it does, it makes it less obvious that they may be thinking quarterback. It would have been obvious if neither of these teams had signed a veteran to a contract that screams, we're willing to let this guy play for a year. So I think the Bears, depending upon who slides through the teens, still in play at 20, just like Washington, Peter, still in play at 19.
Well, who is in play at that time? Probably Mac Jones only, and that's a very big maybe. You'd really have to be in love with Mac Jones because, to me, I don't think Mac Jones is going to be there at number 19. I think you're going to have to trade up to the middle of the round or to the very early teens to have a chance to get Mac Jones. But be that as it may, what this says today is that everyone in the league knows right now that these top four quarterbacks in this draft are not getting out of the top 10. They're just not. So you don't have a good chance to get Trey Lance unless you blow up your draft in the next 2 years. Or you don't have a good chance to get Justin Fields unless you want to blow up your draft in the next couple of years. So that is what both of these moves tell me. The move at number 19 of Washington to get Ryan Fitzpatrick, and the move at number 20, where they are drafting this year, Washington and Chicago, 19 and 20. At 20, the Bears to get Andy Dalton.
And Andy Dalton did take the Bengals to the playoffs 5 straight years to start his career. The guy has done some good things. He's never won a playoff game, but it's not like the Bears have a long history of franchise quarterbacks. He comes in there and he gives them stability, potentially, and some credibility. Yeah, there was a report last night that the Bears were interested in Jameis Winston. Well, given that the Saints signed him to a base contract of $5.5 million for 2021, they could have had Jameis Winston if they were going to pay $10 million for their veteran quarterback. Dalton ends up being the guy. It comes at a time when the 49ers were reportedly very interested in Andy Dalton, and now the Bears have something that they can say, okay, here we go. This is our guy. Let's see what we can do, and let's try to put something together and make some chicken salad out of a situation where everyone's job potentially is on the line, Peter. And look, we'll see. Look, they could have done a hell of a lot worse than Andy Dalton. I know that's not a ringing endorsement, but it's true. They could have done a hell of a lot worse, and you can argue for the past couple of years they have done worse than what Andy Dalton could do for them.
And look, you put it this way. I would assume that they will hang on to Nick Foles. But again, this has been such a weird offseason, and it hasn't even started yet, technically. Because the start of the league year, it hasn't even started. But here's sort of the way I look at all of this, Mike. It's that, everybody has dreams of what they want their team to be, of what they want their quarterback situation to be, of everything. But at the end of the day, there's only X number of opportunities to make your team better. And I think that the realistic thing to do is what both Washington and Chicago have done, in the last 24 hours. And that is to get a guy who you say, if we got the team around him, we can win with this quarterback. Both of these teams, the defense is good enough to win, to be better than 500 and to be a playoff team with those quarterbacks playing. Now, will they? We just don't have any idea if the rest of the team is going to be that good. But in my opinion, both of these teams did the pragmatic thing, not the Dusty Springfield wishing and hoping thing.
Now, a timely reference. Now you sound like me.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.